name's Bob Mason from FX Empire and welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin and Ripple's XRP. We're looking at the MACDs, the moving averages and the day support, resistance and pivot levels. It is Monday the 21st of December. Jumping straight into Bitcoin against the US dollar, looking at the hourly candlesticks, going to need to see Bitcoin avoid a fallback through the pivot at 23,591 to take a run at the first major resistance level sitting at 24,800. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Bitcoin to break back through to 24,000 levels. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 24,244 to cap any upside. In the event of a breakout, got the second major resistance level at 24,732 and resistance at 25 to limit any upside on the day. A fallback through the pivot would bring the first major support level sitting at 22,937 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Bitcoin should stay clear of sub 22,500 levels. Second major support level sits at 22,468. Looking at the MACD, we've got a slight narrowing of the bearish histogram after yesterday's late bearish cross, supporting early upside. On the EMA, we've seen the 50 flatten out and narrow marginally on the 100 and the 200, however. So nothing conclusive there. So key through the early part of the day, avoid a fall through the pivot, 23,591, and break back through to 24,000 levels. Failure to do that and support levels are in play. Moving across to Ethereum against the US dollar, also bullish start to the morning. Going to need to see Ethereum avoid the pivot at 619.44 to take a run at the first major resistance level sitting at 659.38. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ethereum to break back through to 650s, however. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 660 to limit any upside. In the event of a breakout, got resistance at 670 to limit any upside on the day. Second major resistance level sits at 680.36. A fallback through the pivot will bring the first major support level at 619.44 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ethereum should avoid sub 600. Second major support level at 600.48 should limit the downside on the day. Looking at the MACD, we've got a slight narrowing of the bearish histogram, but nothing suggestive of a bullish cross. On the EMA, we're also seeing the 50 close in on the 100 and the 200, suggestive of further downside ahead. So key through the early part of the day would be to avoid a fallback through the pivot and move back through 6 to 650 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that and support levels are in play. Moving across to Litecoin against the US dollar, bullish start to the morning. Going to need to see Litecoin avoid a fallback through the pivot at 115.9 to take around the first major resistance level at 121.94. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Litecoin to break back through to 120s. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and Sunday's high, those at 123.19 to cap any upside on the day. In the event of a breakout, got resistance at 130 to limit any upside on the day. The second major resistance level is at 129.24. A fallback through the pivot will bring the first major support level at 108.60 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Litecoin should steer clear of sub-hundreds. Second major support level at 102.56 and the 23.6% fib at 101 should limit the downside on the day. Looking at the MACD, got a slight narrowing of the bearish histograms, but nothing suggestive again of a bullish day ahead, so need to keep an eye on that. On the EMAs, the 50 is holding its ground, however, against the 100 and the 200. So keep through the early part of the day, avoid a fallback through the pivot at 115.9, break back through to 120s to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, and support levels are in play. Finally, looking at Ripple's XRP against the US dollar, tracking the broader market early on. Going to need to Ripple's XRP avoid a fallback through the pivot at 0.5572 to take a run at this first major resistance level sitting at 0.5857. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ripple's XRP to break back through to 0.58 levels. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 0.58658 to cap any upside on the day. In the event of a breakout, got the second major resistance level sitting at 0.6151 to limit any upside on the day. A fallback through the pivot would bring the 38.2% fib at 0.5285 and the first major support level sitting at 0.5278 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ripple's XRP should avoid sub 0.50 levels. Second major support level sits at 0.4992. Looking at the MACD, got a slight narrowing of the bearish histogram, but nothing suggestive of a bullish day ahead, so we need to keep an eye on that. On the EMA, we've seen the 50 close in on the 100 and the 200, so also need to monitor the EMA there. Any further narrowing, expect a pullback. So keep through the early part of the day, avoid a fallback through the pivot, break back through to 0.58 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, and support levels are in play.